Slowhands Rock Talk Show.
In a band looking to rehearse or get some high quality recording done, look no further. Paul's Hall Studios is located in Cumbernauld, Scotland. They offer a top-end recording studio, 5 rehearsal rooms and over 2 decades of experience. Click the link in the description for more info. Before the video starts, if you could do me a huge favour and hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell, that way you won't miss any future videos coming out. Now on to the video. But thank you first of all for each of you coming on, making a bit of time out of your evening to come on to the podcast, speak to myself all about music. We all like music, so this should be a fun, easy podcast for everyone. And I had a wee look back because there is some people have, or most of you have been on the podcast already. Barry, You were on season 1, episode 5. If you can actually believe this, 24th of January 2024.
Really?
Wow.
Oh my.
So it's went by quickly. Martin, you were on season 1, episode 11. That was the 26th of February 2024. Jerry, you came on season 1, episode 26, 15th of April 2024. And the next day I spoke with James for episode 28. That was the 16th of April. That was the second conversation with James because for whatever reason, the first time it never worked. And we had to do the entire thing all over again. But he's such a nice guy, I didn't want to just scrap it. So we got him back on again because he's a good guy. Graham, we've obviously never met, Graham, or maybe we have met. Graham.
I think we met years ago through my brother.
It turns out that I've played in a few bands with Graham's brother. So I'm like, we must have met each other at some point over the years. The reason I got Graham on, I was just looking for local musicians, and I saw that Graham plays. His name keeps coming up in Number 2 Baker Street, which is one of the regular gigs for myself. And I always thought, I wonder if that's Graham Campbell, as in Graham, Chrissy's brother from Goress. It turns out it was. So I thought, we'll get Graham on as well, because he'll have a few stories to tell. But thank you to each and every one of you for coming on. I'm sure it's going to be a good laugh. But as I kind of said on the email before, when I sent out, we've all played pub gigs. Some of you are obviously doing weddings as well. You're like a step up from that. But we've all played the pub gigs over the years. And so tonight I would like to find out how we have all managed to navigate our way through the lovely pub gig circuit. Because we'll have funny stories to tell, we'll have horror stories, we'll all be able to relate to each other. And the other good thing it might be is if there's some young musicians out there who are thinking about maybe taking those first steps to doing the pub gigs, you know, what do they expect? This might give them a wee idea, the realities of playing a pub gig, because you don't really know. And I know for myself, nobody really told me. It was like you were trying to figure it out as you went along, and it's probably the same for each of you as well. But I was going to ask each of your history. I'll kind of go over myself first, and then it'll give you all a chance to think. So for myself, you know, similar to a lot of you, I started playing in bands. First band, I was 12 years old. I played in bands from 12 right up to 18, doing what I thought was really good original songs. It turned out they were probably terrible, but it was good fun all the same. And then, of course, finished high school, got the girlfriend, life got in the way, kind of took a break from the guitar and then realised actually the guitar's more fun. So picked the guitar back up again. And
did your missus watch this, aye?
What was that?
Did your missus watch this? The guitar with fun and the girlfriend.
But picking the guitar back up again was, funnily enough, actually, it was Graham's brother. That was the second band that we played in. He kind of got us back into just playing the guitar again. And then some of you might know him, some of you might not. Obviously, Leo McGrandles, who also plays the gig circuit, friends with him. We started playing gigs together, and that went for about 7 or 8 years. We were a duo. And then, of course, lockdown hit. And you'll remember everybody was absolutely bored. They decided to go on Facebook Live, start doing weekly gigs. And I kind of thought to myself, I want to be part of this. So I just decided to switch from playing lead guitar and backing vocals to doing rhythm guitar and main vocals. And then once we came out of lockdown, I decided, well, I might as well keep going and start making the Benjamins, And, and the rest is history. But just briefly for each of you, what was your setup with getting into music up to today? I'll start with Barry.
Okay, so for me, I played guitar since I was 5 years old. And I say I was quite lucky in that my dad, he was very musical. I had uncles who were musical, and like yourself, I tried to form bands at primary school, and I couldn't get anybody because everybody was too busy playing with their fucking wrestlers and what have you. But anyway, my dad had a band called Stressed Out, they were called, and they used to play the calendar circuit a lot. So I was 11 years old, and that's when I done my very first pub gig, was with my dad's band. Again, you're talking back in the 90s, and it was fine for an 11-year-old laddie to go into that kind of into the pubs back then, you know what I mean? But for me, I mean, a big kind of a learning curve, certainly for me. My job was, I got paid feck all money for it, you know what I mean? It was, that was what I like to call the apprenticeship. But basically, so I started off my dad's band, and again, I used to love it because my dad's band had a great guitar player. I used to just learn the harness for him, plus I was at my lessons, what have you. But anyway, going for that kind of environment, then obviously into high school, met up with like-minded people, and I started playing with Colin Murphy in a band called, what were we called? X90. We were called, what a shit name. But anyway, started playing in X90 and wrote a few songs, started getting it. And then I got more into the kind of a recording side of things. I absolutely just loved the kind of a producing side. Similar thing, man. Birds and drink and everything else that comes with it. Go out on the road, and I kind of took a wee break from guitar, and it was to tell us about it. I was just before I got married at 20-year-old, shocking. But I then formed another band. Remember we were called Black Velvet, and it was just a Stirling band. And again, that's where I started off in the Stirling circuit with that band. And I started playing all your kind of our usual haunts. Back then, but the Curly Q, what was that called? It was the Albion Bar, it was called. We were kind of a regulars in there, then up to number 2.
Yeah.
And obviously I met with Davy Reid. Me and Davy Reid started doing the pub circuits, just kind of expanded. And then obviously I drifted more from pubs and obviously into the wedding scenes. Don't get me wrong, I like playing a wee pub gig now and again. To keep it real and take me back a wee bit. But I know that was my kind of a background. So pub and weddings.
That's cool. What about yourself, Jerry?
Not far off that really. I much similar. I got into music really young, and the time, like you say, you're in late primary school, going into high school, you realise that not everybody's into music as much as what you are. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I started playing, and I think the first time I ever made any money with music was, there was another Denny Legends who isn't in this podcast today, who probably should be maybe, the infamous David Bateman, absolute one of the most genuine guys you'll ever meet. Such a talent. Me and him were at school together. He was like a year below me, I think. And much like me, he was an absolute Beatles anorak, you know. He was like obsessed with it, because that's how we in, you know, to this world. And he was as obsessed with it, probably even more obsessed about the Beatles than I was at the time. So I found that he was playing guitar, we would jam together, and instantly we would be playing Beatles songs, and I'd be playing kind of lead parts and singing John parts, and he'd know all the harmonies, he would nail all the Paul McCartney harmonies. And I remember thinking straight away, wow, this sounds really cool. We should go busk this. So I remember there was a festival called Big in Falkirk. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
Right.
Hey, Jerry, I seen Hanson at Big in Falkirk.
Oh man, that's epic. I seen Human League there. It was phenomenal, man.
Am I not right in saying, guys, that Daphne and Celeste played there and got bottled on the stage? Sorry, just to kind of go off and... I'm positive
so good.
I was big in Falkirk. Mind the song?
Yeah.
UGLY.
Oh,
Not I'm a fan, by the way, guys. I'm not a fan.
Well, man.
Yeah, I was
Fantastic.
just when you're saying big in Falkirk, I'm going, I remember them getting bombed on stage. Anyway, sorry, mate.
It might have been that. It might have been that one, but that year we never seen much of the actual festival because we stood at the gates of Calendar Park. Well, it wasn't at the gates. It was like there's a wee kind of just before halfway into the path into the festival. We would just be in a wee spot doing Beatles covers, singing songs, doing the harmonies, and people come up to you and force a fiver into your paw as you were playing. They go, "Play us some Oasis, mate. Play us some Oasis." You know, and they were carrying their booze with them as they're going to the festival. So we started busking just for a laugh, and we ended up having to get moved on by the event staff because there was a lot of money in that case for we guys at 12 and 13, and people were so generous in Falkirk. But so I think that's the first time I made money out of music. I think,
Yeah.
And from then on, it was like you say, you get a school band, you get another band. We started playing gigs. We played a place called Grabowski's in the local scene quite regularly. We would play places in Glasgow, McSorley's and things like that, where it was a mixture of covers and originals, you know. We would be recording demos in every kind of any studio you could find that would do it for a 50 quid or something like that when you're 16, you know. You know, and we would be messing about with things like I would have like a 4-track thing I was messing about with, and I was, you know, we were working with making music and producing music very early. So went into bands, released stuff. I went away to art school at that point and did 3 years at art school down in Carlisle. The music took a kind of it kind of went hiatus then. So I'm kind of making art, but then I started to make music. There was music and installation elements that were part of my art. So I was always kind of making music. I couldn't really get away from it. So came out uni, jumped into the band again, Hooks and Crooks at the time, full time. Released a couple of EPs and stuff, and then it just kind of fell to bits. It got quiet, much like yourselves. Got settled down, got married, had kids and stuff like that. You know, got and my daughter, but. In that time, I wasn't really releasing music. I would be working in the studio, like producing records or engineering records or playing sessions, whether it be any instrument somebody would force into your hand, you know. But I think for having that experience for about maybe 5-6 years from my early 20s, it made me be able to bluff pretty much any instrument that has strings. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are the same. Barry knows what I'm talking about here. So it's like, somebody can hand you a mandolin and you work out what is that? Oh, there's a G, and then suddenly you're playing. Somebody's got you play mandolin or something. Or I've did that with violins. I can't play the violin, but somebody's just forced it upon me. And you know, and the same way, like any kind of piano playing, I think I kind of learned to play piano by working in studios, having to come up with MIDI parts or string parts, you know. So I was working in the studio. Sorry if this is going too long. I met an engineer I was working with for quite a lot of records. It was a guy called Roddy McKenzie, and he was a bass player in a band called The Colony, a metal band. I quickly got involved with Roddy, and Roddy produced a record for us before I kind of took a break. So every time there would be a gig coming up where it was a studio gig or he had a band in and he needed somebody to play something in particular, I would be the guy that he would get in contact with. And then sometimes Roddy would get sessions and he would say to the band about getting me as another engineer or me as a co-producer. So, and then we would kind of do that with each other. If I had a gig and I needed an engineer to, you know, help me run like the desk, Roddy was the guy. So I'm having a break. Roddy just phones up and says, "You got any songs, mate?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? What have I got any songs? I've not got anything on this week." And he says, "No, I'm wondering if you have any songs that you want to do." And I'm like, I've got tons. You know, I've just been recording them, stacking them up. So that's how I started Jerry Sun the Smoking Gun. We just started doing the studio project initially to sell the songs, which we did a few, but it was we had these records and it was like, let's just release them, you know. Did that for a while.
I know you've got the band, but you've also got a mini version of it for the pubs.
That's it. So the band was Jerry Sun and the Smoking Gun, but we took a break we did a tour in 2023, took a break. And then in the gap we took a break, Roddy had 2 kids with his beautiful wife Laura, and I had a divorce. So, so it meant that, you know, the time for making music wasn't really a big thing for me at that point. So, I think again, it was probably like Roddy trying to maybe throw me a lifeline. I think he was like, "Do you want to do some cover gigs?" And I had done cover gigs before, but we started making our own backing tracks and things like that, because we kind of wanted to give people the live band experience, you know. And it's not everybody's taste, because I've done many acoustic solo gigs or looper gigs and things, but I just love the idea of building a track and doing all this stuff. Maybe it's just because we're studio guys, so that's their approach to it. You know, we make this a big sound, and then we play the pub gigs or weddings or like you say with that. And I mean, it is blood, sweat, and tears. I think, you know, it's a different type of blood, sweat, and tears than it is when you're making records and you're touring it. Like it's pure sweat, man. Doing the pub. It's like you're running. You're on the spot, you know, for that whole time.
Of course, what about yourself, Graham? How did you kind of get into it?
Well, music in general. Well, I started playing guitar when I was about 15, which was about 300 years ago. But I got really into, and I can't remember how now, but I got really into blues at the time, in late 60s, kind of blues rock and that kind of stuff. Yeah. And this was kind of when Nirvana were coming out, and my pals were all into the Smiths and all that kind of stuff. And I just kind of went 20 years backwards and just was desperate to form a blues band that sounded like John Mayall, you know, that kind of thing. But nobody was interested, so I kind of compromised a bit and got playing. So then, I was just playing guitar ever since, and then moved around a lot, did some gigs, but usually as part of a band. And then kind of fast forward, I was mainly kind of teaching guitar kind of in the early 2000s and not really gigging much, but I was recording and writing quite a lot, so I kind of put some stuff out and all the rest of it, and just kind of recording at home. Because it was getting, that was the time it was kind of getting easier. And I didn't have to use like a Tascam 4-track with cassettes anymore. I can actually, you know, use computers and stuff, and I had Macs and all the rest of it. So, and then I ended up working in aviation for about 10 or 12 years, kind of doing, working at Stansted, doing airfield ops, kind of marshalling and all that kind of stuff, and checking runways and clearing snow. And then we moved back up here, and I got a job at Glasgow Airport, kind of driving buses and doing baggage and all that kind of stuff. And then, as while I was there, I just decided one week I miss playing live. I was kind of doing bits and pieces, still writing and all that, but I missed kind of actually playing in front of an audience. And I wasn't really up for doing covers gigs at the time, so I wanted to do my own stuff. So probably through Facebook and stuff, I kind of found an open mic at the... It was called something. It's the Corona Bar now in the south side of Glasgow. It was called like the Hug and not the Hug and Pine. It was called the Slug and Lettuce or something. It had that kind of name. It'll come to me in a minute. Yeah. But it's the Corona Bar now, and it's quite a famous pub. And its original kind of form, you know, John Martin used to drink there and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, so Crawford Smith was running an open mic there, so I thought I'm going to go to an open mic far away, where nobody knows me at all. I mean, not many people knew me in Falkirk because I'd lived away and kind of came back. But I just wanted to go somewhere else. And that went down pretty well. So then I thought, I'll try a Falkirk one. And so I went to one of Adam Donaldson's open mics, which was at
Firkins,
down Moore Street at the time. And I forget, again, that's changed name so many times. I forget what it was called back then. It was like the Artisan Tap, I think it was. So I went to one of them and kind of got into that whole thing and started doing more and more. And then through a guy called Mick Hargan, who's Glasgow based, I started doing loads and loads of gigs, kind of playing in Govan and stuff, and doing his kind of showcase open mic things, and doing that most weeks, and kind of really got back into the swing of it. And then that turned into support slot at King Tut's and various other bits, and you know, then doing kind of songwriter rounds in Glasgow as well, kind of doing that kind of thing. But obviously that doesn't pay any money, so that was a thing. So I eventually got a job working at because I was doing all these shifts, so I was always knackered, all these 12-hour shifts at the airport. So I got a gig. I got a job. Sorry, not a gig. A job at the Bishopbriggs School of Music. Just teaching guitar, teaching beginners and kids and that kind of stuff. And through that, I got a restaurant gig in Bishopbriggs. It was kind of a regular, kind of a few times a month. So I got to develop a kind of cover set. Because I was playing for 3 hours. I couldn't get too raucous. I was sat in a chair and people were eating their steaks and all the rest of it. I'd have to sing Happy Birthday about 14 times of an evening. But that kind of got me back into it. And then from then on, I started doing the odds and ends, doing a few more. Then obviously COVID hit, as you said, and I was doing the online thing. And I'd done a couple of covers gigs, I think the Settle In and that before, in Stirling, just before COVID. But then that kind of came through. And then after COVID, started playing at Baker Street. I think I answered, Val put a Facebook post up, wanting acoustic acts at the time when she launched that Thursday night. So I kind of applied to that. I started playing that, and then again the Settle In and various other pubs all around the place. Started playing in Edinburgh. It got quite regular at the Theatre Royal Bar, which is a great venue. Kind of played there, and then just kind of get into a pattern of it. And so now, kind of long story short, I'll kind of got to the stage now where I'm doing a few covers gigs, a few regular ones, kind of places I like to play. And I'm trying to get back into doing more originals gigs again and a bit more teaching. So I'm just kind of mixing it up a little bit more. Last year I was doing loads of covers gigs, so I'm just kind of redressing the balance a wee bit. And just so I can, because I'd forgotten how to write and record much really. So I've kind of gone back that way because I was so practicing covers all the time.
It's like a muscle. I always think of that. Like you say, like with the songwriting. I've had a session with a buddy of mine a couple of weeks back. And he hadn't written a song in years, and he was so fluid at it wanted. But it's like exercise. Like once you start,
absolutely
getting yourself in that place, it's like a fish to water, man. It's like big.
You say that though, but it was the opposite for myself. It was playing all the cover gigs. That made me understand what my voice was capable of doing.
That's true.
Then lent itself great to where I then started to write songs, because previously I was always writing songs from a rock background. It was always like riff based, and the singing was always like an afterthought.
And
then it's like you start doing cover gig after cover gig, and you develop your voice. You realise what you're capable of doing, and all of a sudden you can then take the guitar and I can actually sing a melody rather than the guitar being the main instrument. The vocals are the main instrument.
Aye.
The guitar is.
I would agree with that. But I would add the thing. I think for me it wasn't so much the because I actually gained more vocal confidence. I'd forgotten about that. You're right, because you're singing, Tom Petty stuff and all the rest of it, or Whitesnake or whatever. There's a big range of things. But I think for me, it was a confidence of doing my own stuff that I'd kind of lost a bit. And then my pal Ian Donald, who you'll probably know. In his way, encouraged me to do more original stuff again, and he just went, "You should do your own songs. They're no shite." And that was enough. All right, fair enough.
that sounds like Ian.
That's Ian Lloyd, definitely.
What about yourself, Martin? What was your journey?
I started playing in bands, don't know, early teens maybe. It's like 12, 13 potentially. I went to high school. I started playing when I was in primary school, but nobody in my class was interested in music or what I was doing. So it wasn't until I went to high school I met a couple of guys who started a band with, and one of them, Liam, still plays bass when I do the solo stuff and that nowadays. But we started a wee band together, and we played in bands for years. And then I moved schools to Alva, and they started fifth year, and I knew Christy all my life. They're going up to the football, but we. Travelling up, the 2 years are long suffering Dundee fans, so we've been through hell and back together over the years. We've never quite won anything, but hey, it is what it is. That's, I suppose there's a metaphor for life in there somewhere. But we have been pals ever since. He plays drums in the project now, but Christy and I moved to Liverpool when I was 18. We finished school, lived down there for a couple of years, played in some more bands, all that kind of stuff, and then uni wasn't really for me. I kind of got involved in the nightlife in Liverpool and drank all my money, never went to uni. Eventually they said, right, don't come back. I thought, okay, I've no money left, right, up the road, back home. Long story short, was sitting in the Oakwood in Socky, and it was Craigie Stewart, who was at the Oakwood at the time, now runs the Royal Oak in Alloa. I was sitting in a huff at the bar, or fed up with myself because I wasn't playing anything. And he went away and got a guitar and came back. He says, go and plug that in and give us a couple of songs and stop being so bloody miserable. So I did. And I thought, that was actually quite good. I enjoyed that. That was my first solo cover gig. Yeah. Quite enjoyed that. And he says, right, well, come back when you've got 3 hours and we'll talk. I said, no, okay. So I went away and learned about 3 years worth of stuff and then started gigging in the Oakwood. And then he gave me a monthly slot in there. So I would do the last Friday every month. Same night as the darts, so I was pretty much guaranteed a crowd, at least for the first half hour. Yeah. And then I started doing 20 Rocks in Stirling every Thursday when that was a place, the old Sports Stars. Yeah. And it was through all that, I met Suey, who's another sort of legend of this pub circle. And he gave me, in typical Suey fashion, he gave me this big scrumpled up receipt. And on the back of it had people like for different pubs and their names and their phone numbers. And he says, phone them, tell them I said that you were to phone them and they'll get you a gig. Yeah. And I was like, right, sound no bother. So I think one person actually was like, answered the phone when I phoned. And then I got a gig through that. And then it just snowballed from there. You know, you play one place and somebody goes, oh, will you come and play here? And then your name starts going round and then you end up playing all these different places, you know, playing all the pubs in Stirling. And then you meet loads of guys, different people, you know, like we all swap contacts with each other and that as well, you know. And Mark Hogg, who lived here for a while, he's in Australia now, but he got me gigs in Greenock and stuff that he was doing. And, you know, just your network just kind of goes once you start. And you can do kind of as much or as little as you want, I suppose. You know, it depends how far you're willing to travel, how much you want to do, how busy you want to be. Yeah. And that's kind of how it started. You know, it took my own...
Oh, is Martin froze for everyone?
Yeah. Aye. Oh, Martin.
At least he's got a good face.
He's got a great face, that boy, I tell you that for a fact.
It could have been a lot worse.
We'll move on to...
stuff. And original music. Bands took a back seat.
Can he come back? Right, go for it, James.
He's going to, as soon as I start speaking, he's going to come back online, eh?
Probably.
I'm probably this is a very similar story to all you guys. I'm a West Lothian guy rather than a sort of Stirling Falkirk, so I didn't really know a lot of you. Oh, there he is. Do you want to take the mantle again, Martin? Or are you?
No, you're all right. My part of shite anyway. It's cool.
I basically a weird story about how I got into music. I think I explained this to Ian in the podcast, but I was never into music really, even sort of through school and stuff. And I got a job washing dishes in a local hotel, and I was just like 15 and had all this money. So I bought trainers and bloody games consoles, and like I was buying all this shite basically. And then my cousin's boyfriend was selling one of these you remember the wee 4-pad drum machines, just like a wee electronic drum machine. Yeah. What you wanting for it? 30 quid? I'll pay that. Geez, that like just to spend money. And I don't know. I was sitting about for a couple of weeks, and I was speaking to my mate on the phone, and he's like, "My brother's just gave me a bass." He'd never played in and never been musical either. He's like, bring that drum machine down. So we're in this room making an absolute racket, like just, I don't know, the neighbours must have been pulling their hair out. And then we heard a whistle and looked out the back window, and there's two guys, 2 doors down, standing with 2 guitars. They'd been practising in a shed, and they'd heard the racket coming for the room, and they're like, hey, you just got drums and bass, come down. It's like something for a film.
That is like an origin story, mate. I love that. That's cinematic. Like.
So we were in this wee like fucking 5 foot by 5 foot shed with this drum machine and this bass. Every one of us plugged into an old Vox amp, like the two guitars, the bass and the vocal plugged into the amp. And then I was in a band with you guys for 6 years or something after that.
Right.
The 2 guys who were the front men, they used to write songs, but we used to like blitz covers as well. We were massive Beatles fans. just with Jerry talking about being Beatles fans. We got biblical with it, you know. We were like, you know, we were looking online to buy like the squares of the pillies that had been cut up and stuff. Like, we were total obsessives. But then Oasis hit, so we were kind of in that era of learning covers and writing our own songs during the whole Oasis thing. And then it was just a case of going out and gigging. I was playing real drums by this time, so I had no aspirations to play guitar or anything. I was quite happy playing drums. But in between rehearsals, you know, I'd just pick up the guitar and I'd get them to show me chords. And, you know, as a, well, Dave Grohl wasn't big then, but I mean, as a Dave Grohl wannabe, you start getting that wee inkling for, I reckon I could fucking sing a wee song, by the way. I reckon, you know, it's like, you're the drummer, shut it and stick to the drums. But you know, as fate would have it, I started writing songs and they kept knocking them back, and then like I wrote a song and they were like, it's pretty good. Do you want to sing it? And I was like, I'm playing the drums, and like, well, try and play the drums and sing. So I had my wee spot in the set where I had my own song and I was playing the drums and singing, and that's kind of where I got the confidence to then sing. You know, they'd have me, I was like the Ringo, you know, I'd probably have 2 songs in a whole set where I would sing, but I got the bug for it, and I started practicing guitar more and more in the breaks and what have you. And then when that band broke up, I done what Graham said. I thought, I'm going to sing in front of people, but I'm going out of my hometown. I'm going to sort of far away where nobody can see me making an arse of myself. So I actually went to Nice and Sleazy open mic night, and it was wall to wall. There was folk like sitting on the flare, there was just folk everywhere, and I've never been so nervous, and I still can't think of a time where I've been as nervous as standing up on that stage singing one of my own songs. I was shaking, my voice was shaking, like through the whole, I think I got 2 songs, and it was a make or break. But I think that made me getting up in front of a packed, you know, if it had been like 2 or 3 people or in front of my mum or whatever, then it might have been a bit different, but that kind of gave me the right thrown in at the deep end. Yeah. So it was just a case of writing my own songs, and because I played in the band locally, like all the pubs knew us because we had been in and played at every pub. You know, we'll play for free or we'll play for beer. So all the pubs knew who we were and knew who I was. So when it came to like, you know, like me going up to the pubs and saying, I've got a wee sort of hour set, do you mind if I come in and play? And whatever it was, 50 quid at the time or that. And I think a couple of the pubs gave me a wee shot, and it just kind of snowballed from there. And ever since then, I've kept writing my own songs. I do production, like what Barry was saying. You know, when we were in the band, we first started off with the old Tascam, the 4-track, and then we bought a tower, and we had like the kind of Sound Blaster card in it. You know what I mean? And it was like Cubase 1 or something, and so we started recording ourselves, but I don't know how it got lumped to me, so I became the band's engineer or recording engineer or whatever, but I've done it ever since.
Yeah.
I write and record my own stuff. For fun. I never really go out and play my own stuff. I put everything out on Spotify and what have you, and I do all the production myself, but obviously the gigs is the money maker. So yeah, I play everything. I play restaurants, I play pubs, Edinburgh, I'm playing Oban this weekend, Livingston, I play down in Galashiels. Like, I've got quite a wide network of gigs. Weddings, just garden parties. I'm with a few agencies, so they get me some interesting gigs, corporate gigs. I've played quite a few corporate gigs. Just really pimping myself out. I would love to do what the other guys had said about, I think it was Graham that was saying like about wanting to get back to the doing my own songs, but obviously I work full time during the week. I'd try and do at least 2 or 3 gigs. I was doing it full time up until about 6 months ago, and then I proposed, and It now ends up that we're getting married in Greece, so which is mutual lira. So
I know a great wedding band that is more than willing to come to Greece for you, right? Just put myself out there for you, like, Well,
if I had any pennies left, mate, then I would take you up on that. But
it's funny, James, you're talking about like the nerves that you had at that first gig. The first gig I ever played where I was the front man, the singer, was after lockdown. And for a while there, for about maybe a year and a half or that, I played with another guy. I got another guy to basically come and do the lead guitar. And he got the first gig, and it was away through East Kilbride, which is a bit of a trek, obviously, from through this way. And it was funny because I was the same as yourself. I was nervous. We had 2 practices, and then it was like, let's just go for it. And that thing, I was like, the nerves were kicking in on the day, like getting nervous, And I packed the car up and I started driving. I got to Cumbernauld and then realised I'd forgot the mixing desk. So I had to drive all the way back. And it was the best thing that ever happened because I stopped being nervous about singing and I was more nervous about turning up late. So I was thinking I need to get there in time. And the whole nerves of playing was nothing really. But it's funny, I think it was Barry, I might be wrong here, but I'm sure Barry put up a meme on social media years ago, and it always stuck with me because it's so true. And it was, I can't remember what the picture is, it's a still from a movie, and it's somebody holding money and laughing, and the caption, it was something along the lines of musicians that write their own songs, when they say something about like how playing covers isn't proper.
Oh, totally, man. No, I totally get what you're talking about there. So it was that whole thing. Basically, as a cover musician, let's face it, guys, you do get shit for people that do write their own songs. You do. There is that stigma.
It's
Totally. I mean, hey, I'm the first to admit, massive fucking sellout. I went with the money. I went with the Benjis. Like I want the Benjamins. When I was playing in the band when I was younger, doing all in stuff, great. But then I'd seen the other side of my dad's band. I'd seen these guys getting paid, and I'm like, I want paid. I want paid for my gig.
Yeah.
And then, as I say, when I tried to go back to original stuff. Now, when was that? 2010, 2011, a band called Sleeper Train. I thought we were a great band. I thought the tunes that we had were great. But it was so strange for me to turn up to a gig and they offered to pay us in beer, and I was like, fuck off. Get paid in beer? I mean, I'm not doing that.
Exposure.
But again, the rest of the guys were like, but Barry, it's a gig, it's exposure. And 100% totally right. And again, it's those two different things. But I'll still get people saying to me, but see, you need to go and play other people's songs. And again, that's where that meme came for Ian.
Yeah.
With the guy wiping the tears with the pound notes. Because at the end of the day, guys, we'll work hard as fuck. I think one of the easiest things to do, or for the nerves, it's easy, I think, to go and play your own stuff because it's your song. I think it's more difficult to go and be good at somebody else's songs. And I tell you what, see, you keep that crowd entertained. I mean, how many times do you need to read a room when you're at a mid-gig and you need to change your set because somebody doesn't like that? You know what I mean? It's a lot of fucking work.
That's such a big part of the gig itself.
Absolutely, man.
Reading the room, being able to read the room. Whereas when you do, obviously, like when you do your own stuff, there's something that's autonomous and non-moving and immobile. It's like this is who we are. Come on, you've paid to listen to our songs. Here's our song, because that's a show. I always say to people, there's a difference between a show and a gig. A gig, the bar pays you and the punters come. A show is you're the show. You might be playing in a pub and the football's behind you, or the darts was as you mentioned earlier, mate. But it was like it's like the show, but when it's you pay tickets, like, wait, this is who we are, and people get dressed up in costumes, with paint their faces blue and that, and you know what I mean?
I think I've kind of compromised on it a wee bit. I've kind of gone, because I'm getting older and more stubborn. I'm just thinking, fuck it. I'll do the covers, but I'll do the covers that I like. And I've made a joke of that in the gig. And when I've introduced it, I said, oh, here's a bunch of songs I like. I hope you like a couple of them too. And usually it goes down pretty well, and people are like, oh, you're not doing the same as everybody. I mean, I do popular covers, obviously, but I'll throw in some obscure ones or some JJ Cale or something, or stuff I want to just throw in.
Nice.
But and then try and make it my own to make it more. Otherwise, I'd get bored, just kind of doing the same old thing. And there's not many songs I'll turn down if I don't know it. I'll say that no, I'm not doing that as a request or whatever. But then I make a joke about I'm not going to play Sweet Caroline. That's not happening. But just do this persona of this is what I do. But I do it in a jokey, almost a jokey way. And the places I play, because everyone's of a similar age and stuff anyway, so I'm playing a lot of classic rock stuff and all that. So they know, and for me, modern is Paul Weller or the Stereophonics and stuff like that. So that's me doing up-to-date stuff.
Yeah,
but it was people of that age group tend to be my audience anyway, so it works.
Yeah, I do take my hat off to anybody that can walk into a pub. I've probably said this to a few of you, but you need a big set of balls, right, to turn up to a pub. Now, the people that are in the pub, more than likely, they're not there to see you. They're there despite you being there.
Exactly.
But to walk in, and I'd love to say there's a stage, but usually where there's a table set, they've moved that aside for you, or a jukebox or something.
Reserved. Or not moved them, as the case was with me the other week, and I rearranged the whole pub. But that thing, you go in, you don't have to be the greatest singer, the greatest guitarist, right? But to get up there and to play, it's hard going. And the thing with everybody that's been doing it for a while, it's like anything. You make it look easy because I'm not saying we're all brilliant, but you're good at what you do, right? It's like if you're playing snooker or you're playing darts or football, if you're good at it, you make it look easy, right? You see somebody just show up, plug all their stuff in and start playing. It looks easy. It's hours and hours and hours and hours of practice to get to that point. And the other thing, I mean, I played a gig Saturday and Sunday. I just done gigs there. Saturday I did the 9 till 12 slot. So I turned up about half 8, and the guy before me was playing the last, obviously, few songs, and I could already tell it was going to be a pain in the arse because there was those people in the pub that they want to be the centre of attention, and the fact that you're coming in, whether you want to or not, you're stealing the spotlight because you've got a microphone that's louder than their voice. And I hadn't even I hadn't even done the first song, I hadn't even plugged in my stuff, and already they were coming up. Are you any good? If you're not any good, we're going to go. And I'm just like, get the fuck. Like, you feel like telling them to get the fuck.
Aye, totally.
You kind of got to you sort of just joke about in that. But I mean, it is really hard going, right? And I'll give you all a laugh because you'll all be able to relate to this, right? When I first started gigging, I used to take a note on my phone of all the stupid things that folk would say to me, right? I'm just going to read out some of them to you, and you'll probably be able to relate, right? Of course, it's Scotland. Can you play Penny Arcade? Can you play Fields of Athenry? You've always got the football one, right? Which I just avoid completely, right? I had a great one. Somebody came up to me once. No offence, but last week's singer was really great.
Wow.
Thanks. Right? I had one. If I help you out with your gear, can you run me and my friends home? No. Right?
Female.
It doesn't even matter. I was just like, I'm drenched in sweat, 3 years of gigging. I don't care who you are, I'm going home. Right? The pub's employing you to play and entertain the punters. Right? The whole pub's jumping. There's a guy comes up to me, sitting with 2 other guys. Mate, can you turn it down? You're too loud. I'm trying to talk to my friends here. And of course, he sat right next to the speaker, right? Of course, you always get the, will you play my wedding? More than likely, you never hear from them again, right? A favourite, can you play Wagon Wheel? That's always a favourite, right? I had one guy, for 2 hours solid after every single song, he screamed at me to play Wonderwall. so I didn't bother playing it. I had the one just on Saturday there. Can you play this? Can you play this? I don't even know if she requested a band or if it was the name of the song. I'd never heard of it. So I just said, oh, sorry, I don't have that. What do you mean you don't have that? It's easy.
No.
You have
It's
it, though.
3 chords. It's G, C, and D.
Just play it.
It's just like this.
But just play it, mate. Come on, you can play it. Just play it. You're like,
You can.
Alcohol is a big thing because I look a certain way. I had someone come up and ask me if I've got any Celine Dion, and I'm like, I actually honestly think people forget that you're actually playing. I actually think they forget. It's almost like you're a DJ.
I've had ABBA and Taylor Swift and gone, do I look like I play ABBA?
ABBA, and you know what? Right, we were getting loads of requests for ABBA. It's funny you say that. We tried it, by the way. That is not in a range I can sing in, my friend.
Not without advice.
And what are your thoughts?
Dodge it.
What about for each of you? Is there like a horror story? Remember, Barry, you tell me the lovely one about the pub musician that comes in and your sound's crap and he tells you to do something and you just pretend.
The magic fader is probably my favourite, and I do it in the studio. And again, the guys that are doing studio work with people, the magic fader's probably. I know I'm not going to say who it is because we all know this person, okay?
Yeah.
It was just, I'm not going to say that, right, but basically, so had somebody come in and they come in and they listen with their ears, they know fuck all about music. They listen to the radio, they'll probably listen to MP3s, and then they're saying, nah, it's a bit toppy. It's needing something up that top end. I'm going, all right, okay. I went, is it too bright? That is too bright. Put your hand on the the treble knob, and you kid on, you're turning it back, and they see your hand going back, but you're turning nothing. You go, how's that? Oh, a wee bit more. That's it. Bang on. Perfect. And you've done fuck all. Wanker.
Sorry.
So I was going to say, what about for the rest of you? Is there anything that sticks out? Just stupid things that people say to you?
I was playing a gig in Bathgate, and there was an old guy at the bar, and he kept going, cheat! And I'm like, trying to figure out what he was shouting. Cheat! I'm like, so after about the third or fourth time, I was kind of like, what are you shouting, mate? You're a cheating bastard! I'm like, what do you mean I'm a cheat? Capo, you're a cheat. right, okay. I was like, come up here and show me how it's done then, mate. You're a wanker. I was like, aye. Okay. I thought so, mate. Okay. Capo to 5.
That's one of my bugbears about that Capo being a cheat thing. I would have launched into him. Because I've got a whole thing on that.
I shut him up, but I mean, he never shouted it after that again.
What is the demographic of people that are saying that then? Are they jazzers or something, man? Are they
probably know a bar chord and think that's it.
They think you can get with a bar chord, you can just play any one of the chords, you know?
Exactly. You know? If I'm singing Here I Go Again in F, I'm not going to do an F, I'm going to play D shapes because it sounds nice.
Yeah. Nice, that's the thing, guys, it comes into the sound. I mean, so when somebody mentions, because I've had it myself as well with the capo, and the first thing I'll say is, go and try and play Here Comes the Sun without a capo.
There you go. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You can't. You can play in D. It's not going to sound like Here Comes.
It's a choice, though. It's true, Barry. It's an actual choice. It's a musical choice. No, it's not like you say that Here Comes the Sun. You've got these stuff chord shapes you're making with the D. And it's like you can't get that if you're playing it down the neck, or you're not going to get that full range.
Yeah. Or can't always get what you want by the Stones. Capo 5G. Yep, sounds like the record.
I had another one of guys saying that about pedals, you know, because I'll do half of the show acoustic, and then I'd switch to the electric, and where's is a kind of jukebox style thing. It starts with stuff that you get rock and roll stuff, and all the way up to like what's going on in the charts. You might chuck a couple of new ones in. So you have to have a big palette to paint with, man. You can't just use the one clean guitar. So it's like, oh, you're a cheat. I got the cheat thing as well, but I was a cheat because I had pedals and do you know what? Can I tell you what pedals I had at the time? I had a tuner, I had a wah-wah, and I had a tube screamer. So that was it. Like these three pedals at the time, and I was a cheat because I wasn't plugging straight into a Marshall hashtag or from Hamada. I don't know what the guy expected.
There's a lot of musicians that will, even guys, I'm not going to mention any names, but there's even people out in the gigging circuit that we all know that frown upon backing tracks and using this or that. And I'm like, first of all, I think folks should just maybe focus on what they're actually doing and stop worrying about other people. But also, I think people forget, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's a pub gig. I think people they think that they're higher up than they are. It's like you're getting paid to entertain the punters.
Correct.
Whether you're playing with a backing track, whether you're playing with a band, whether you're just solo by yourself, nobody actually cares. Nobody in the pub cares. All they want to hear is a song that they like. That's all they care about.
As long as it sounds good, that's all they're caring about. As long as it sounds good, it's a good song that they like, that's it.
Funny you should say that, Ian. It's only a pub gig. My mate went to see Ian Brown, the Stone Roses, last year or the year before.
I was at that gig, mate, and I know what's coming. I was at the gig. I was there.
And my mate came back. He was like, "How was Brown?" And he was like, "He played to fucking backing tracks." I was like, "You are joking?" He's like, "No." He was like, "There was no a band here. He just came on. The backing track came on, and there's Ian Brown sitting away, give me your money." And it's like,
wow.
I was like, I cannot actually believe that happened.
I'll be honest with you, but that gig, it was at the Academy, and I thought it was a fucking great gig, man. Don't get me wrong, Ian Brown, he's not a fucking singer, let's face it, guys, know what I mean? But see the sound of the tracks, it was it was fucking...
What year was this? Was this last year?
This must have been about 2-3 years ago, Jerry. I remember reading about that. He done a gig, I'm sure it was down in Liverpool, and they fucking slated them when he came. Scotland was his next gig, and because he made a point on stage saying, "We're having a good time, aren't we, folks?" And folk were loving it. But again, it's back to that snobbery of backing tracks. The band I played in, the Dirty Martinis, the wedding band that I play in. So we were a 5-piece for years and years and years. And unfortunately, the keyboard player, he didn't want to do it anywhere. He had family commitments, chucked it. He was a fucking great keyboard player. And it's one of the hardest instruments in my belt, certainly in my experience, is to try and get a good keyboard player. Why? Because these guys can do it, they can do it themselves. But anyway, so what we ended up having to do, we play with backing tracks, but not in a conventional sense where we've got the drums, etc. It's only the keyboard parts, like the orchestra parts, the brass parts. But again, what we need to do, I mean, we all play with in-ears, so we've all got a click track going through our ears. See, to do it, that's a skill itself. Yeah. See, when you fuck up on a backing track, the backing track keeps going. It doesn't matter with the band. When you're not got a track, you just look at each other and you get back into it again.
Yep.
That click's still going again. It just happened to us a few weeks ago. What was it? I think we missed, or I think I put my hands up, I think it was actually me that missed the first beat, the click, and I think I came in beat 2. And we're a beat behind. I'm going, shit, there's no until you start singing. The crowd's looking, and you sometimes just need to stop. But again, it's a good point. It's people are there. They want, especially for pub gigs and for weddings, whatever gig you're doing, they want to have a good time. They want the band to fucking sound good. To me, by any means necessary, whether that's using a cap, whether that's using pedals, whether it's using backing tracks, it's to me what's good for you. And it goes back to what you say, Ian. Stick to what you're fucking doing. Don't be fucking calling down anybody else or what they're doing. I mean, if they're enjoying what they're doing, if people's enjoying it, brilliant. To me, that's
and the more variety, the better. If we were all the same style, it'd be rubbish.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
Totally.
Apples and oranges, man. We're all selling something different.
The other big one you get is it's not professional to have an iPad on your mic stand or something like that, and I'm like, you're not playing Wembley, you're playing down the corner there. Nobody cares. But I mean, I've had that where it's like doing the pubs, one person's thinking we've got to have the greatest set list and you can't deviate from it. And I'm like, no. We need to learn 300 songs, and every single one of them you're playing is probably edited and nothing like the original. But I'm not remembering 300 sets of lyrics and boards. So I'm using the iPad. If you don't want to use the iPad, you go and learn it and don't bother using the iPad. But as Barry said, it's each to their own.
Totally. I was watching a video with Joe Solomon playing with Squeeze yesterday. Yeah, and he kind of got back together with them, and they've all got iPads and screens and stuff with lyrics, and it's just there. It's a tool. Yeah, it enhances your performance. You know
what you actually see on stage now is you think there's a floor monitor. Is it?
Yeah, that's it.
It's a second screen. Whether and I'm talking like Oasis done it in their tour.
A teleprompter.
John Mayer. They've all got it. You know what I mean? And even rappers. Like 50 Cent, when I saw him, they've got it as well. You know what I mean?
But it's no different. We used to have bits of paper taped to our acoustic guitars with the lyrics written on them.
On the back of the speakers, on the back of the...
Exactly, that's all it is. As long as it doesn't interfere with your performance, I think it's...
The only difference, obviously, I think it's maybe different. Barry, obviously, you've got the wedding band. Jerry, I don't know if you do weddings, but you do private functions like that as well. And Martin, obviously, you've got the band as well, the solo stuff, where you've done a lot of good support slots as well. But for those ones, I might be wrong, but the only difference is that I feel like the crowd is usually on your side.
Oh, they're in the bag, guy.
Whereas
the wedding, everybody is looking amazing. They're full of the drink. And they want to have a good time. And you've just turned up with a party machine.
Yes!
instant party, man. Weddings are in the bag, man. They are in the bag. Like.
But don't get me wrong, man. See some of the weddings, Ian. Some of the weddings, just like the pubs, you sometimes get a shite crowd that are just not up for it.
Well, I was going to ask, Barry, for each of you, have you got any disaster gigs? Is there a gig that sticks in your mind like... I don't mean just like, that was the crowd was quite quiet tonight. I'm talking about, have you got any disaster stories to tell?
Aye, I had one a while back. It was a long time, but I got asked to play this gig. The guy says, right...
Sorry, Martin, is this just a solo one, just yourself?
Yeah, man, it was just me doing like an acoustic, like it was an acoustic night, because like the pub stuff and that I always do, it's just acoustic, me and my guitar. Yeah. And I just hit it as hard as I can and hope for the best. But I was doing that, and it was in a pub in Alloa, and this was like a zoo, this place. It was wild. And this guy was up in my face. And we're probably about an hour and a half into the gig. It's unhinged. There's people swinging for light fittings on the walls and things like that. It was wild. And this guy came up, and he was in front of me, and he was giving me the news and the weather at the same time, Ken. And you're getting all this. And he says, can you play Caledonia? And I'm like, everybody's gone bananas, like jumping up and down, and you're wanting me to play Caledonia. Actually, might not be a bad thing. Bring it down a wee bit. Maybe calm everybody down. Yeah. Did it, fuck. Halfway through Caledonia, and we all know Caledonia, it's pretty chilled. And
yeah.
It's quite a nice song, and I'm thinking, happy days, this will bring them down. This guy started standing on tables, and he reached over, and he grabbed my speaker.
Oh, no.
Like, one of my speakers. I had two speakers, like either side like that. And he reached over and he grabbed my speaker and he picked it up and he's like singing to the speaker. But he lifted, and he was quite a big unit of a boy, yeah. And he picked up the speaker and he's keen at that, picking up my speaker, and it pulled my mixing desk off because it was pretty much stretched as far as it would go, you know, the cables. It pulled the mixing desk off. That went bang. All the drinks went down. He shat it, dropped the speaker. That went down. Just clattered over the front row. And you're left kind of standing there. There's absolutely no noise. Still trying to go, let me tell you. And at that point, I thought, right, enough, man. I'm out of here before something. Before
I had a similar one at a place in Dunblane. I'll not mention the name, but I'd done a few gigs there. It was a good pub. Crowd was all right. But this night there was this big tall fucker, and he was like 6'5" or something like that. He must have been drinking for about 5 days. He shouldn't have even been allowed in the pub, but clearly everybody knew each other. And I've got my speaker set up, and he took a nosedive, and he hit the one of the speakers on the PA. That fell over, and it snapped the where the guitar was plugged into the desk. It snapped the cable in half, and the mic stand snapped. Right, this was about 2.5 hours into the gig, so I'm like, the bar staff come out because I was ready to thump the guy, and they're like, "Are you everything all right? Are you going to keep playing?" Well, no. Desk is fucked. The mic stand snapped. Right, I says, "Come here." I got the bar person to take a note of all the damage, and the next day the owner, who wasn't there, refused to pay because one of his drunken punters said it didn't happen. And I'm just like, wow. So that, funny enough, that's the last time I played there. That's an extreme example, though. It doesn't happen too often.
I take pictures of everything. I learned that in aviation. Cover your arse. Yeah, just going to take pictures of all the damage.
For me, one of the worst experiences I've ever had at a gig. There was a place in Stirling. It's actually knocked down now. Fuck it, I'll just tell you. O'Shaughnessy's. I don't know if you remember O'Shaughnessy's in Stirling. But anyway, it was a Sunday gig we were doing in there.
Hey everyone, Ian Bain from Runrig here. You're listening to the Slowhands Rock Talk Show, talking all things music with the great Ian McMurtry.
And I'm sitting playing probably Neil Diamond or probably Sweet Caroline or something, and next thing I see this guy walking up to someone who's basically sitting in front of me, and he's leaning there over to talk to him. Next thing, this guy took a chunk out of this guy's ear. Okay, bit the guy's ear off.
Proper Mike Tyson.
Wow. Then, it gets worse. So then, the singer we were playing with, he was actually a Polish at the time, so of course, his initial reaction, need to break this up. Anyway, of course, I'm seeing the singer get out, so my guitar's now off, and then we're trying to break it up. Anyway, all went outside. Next thing, this guy, the guy's ear a bit, his brother gets involved. Anyway, poor guy, grabs him and smashes his head on the road. Blood's everywhere.
Yeah.
Me and the singer, we're still trying to break this up. Next thing, there's a Chinese right across the road. The guy ran over, jumps the counter, goes in the back, grabs a knife, and it was going to stab me and the singer.
Right.
Next thing, police, everything's there. So after that I went, I don't think I want to play here anymore. I mean, but because Paul, the singer at the time, because he was a policeman and because he knew the police coming down, I've never seen a pub turn so fast on us, because we were the best thing since sliced bread. Can you play this song? Can you play that song?
Yep.
And because they're talking to the police, they're no longer part of us now. That pub turned again. We thought we weren't getting any gear of that back. Thankfully we did. Yeah. But a total shit show of a gig, man. Totally.
The one that I've heard of, luckily I don't have, the PA system where you've got the speaker and then you've got the pole.
Yeah.
I've heard of a lot of people saying that you get drunk asses trying to swing on them.
Pole dancing, it happened to me at a guy. The thing is, at these gigs where these crazy things happen, I don't think I've ever been harmed in any of these gigs or any bandmates. It's always pub gigs in particular. It always seems to be punters that you see. Punters, they get billions. I've had people fall, particularly in Stirling. It's Sanjibaz, a place I've had it happen many times, where people fall on the stage and they hurt themselves or they fall on an amp or they break a mic or the mic stand, as you say. But I did have one person fall onto the stage, and when they fell at the stage, they must have fell right on the bit where all the plugs is.
Oh yeah.
At the front where all your power tools come up, and literally left us in complete darkness. It was like you couldn't have pulled out every single plug if you tried, but it was like complete darkness, and we're still singing, and there's nothing, no noise, no backtrack, no lights.
It's when that happens though. You play for a bit, and then at some point you've got to decide, I just stop mid-song.
I had to do that in Edinburgh because somebody had plugged their phone in. They plugged a wireless charger into I had my kind of extension out to the speakers and stuff, and it was a coiled extension. It was fully, pretty much fully out. But they plugged this thing in, which was drawing a lot of power, and obviously my speakers were drawing power as well. And so I'm playing away, and I could just smell burning plastic behind me, and it was getting stronger and stronger. And it just got to that point where I had to just go, hang on, turn around, just get it before the place. And the bar staff kind of over here were smelling it, and this woman had just plugged their stuff in to my stuff. And that was the same night that two girls, as they were leaving the pub, all my kind of stuff was kind of set. It was here against this back wall. The door was over here. They managed to walk, and then they just literally both went sideways, fell over my guitar cases and into all my stuff like that. But they had literally walked like that and went jump, as if somebody had pushed them with an invisible force. And I was just like,
I've got a better one than that, Graham. This didn't happen to me. This was Liam McGrandle's, right? Uh-huh. Now, you know Baker Street, you go in, normally 9 times out of 10 you'll set up on the left-hand side when you first walk in. And of course, it's a tourist trap. You get a lot of tourists coming down from the castle and all that. He was doing a gig. It wasn't a disaster, but he couldn't finish the song because he was laughing so much, right? And we were there, and there was a couple came in that must have just been on vacation. And the guy looked like he'd stepped out of Dynasty. He had like the big cowboy hat on and like the white suit. He looked ridiculous, eh? And they came in to get something to eat. And they'd sat at the table just on the right-hand side of the door, right? And so he's kind of sat in his chair, but he's like turned around watching Liam play. There's 2 drunken lassies come in. And they weren't even wearing a skirt, it was just like a belt, right? And they come in steaming, and then it's like they got the big bar stools, and they went and sat them maybe about 2 metres from where Liam's playing. So already it's awkward because the whole pub's like looking, right? They sit on these stools, and then they start doing like a Sharon Stone, right? They've got no pants on or nothing, right? And they start doing a Sharon Stone, but they're absolutely steaming. And then one of them falls and grabs the other one. The 2 of them fell off the stools backwards. And of course, you can see everything on display. But it was the Texas guy who's like mid-dinner. He turns round, he's got his big hat on, he's like, holy shit! His poor wife was just like dropping her plate. She didn't even know what to do. And they're like, this is what your lasting memory of Scotland.
And he's holiday there every year since. Like,
should have charged them extra.
I had a similar thing. I was playing in a pub in Bathgate, and it was a Hindu came in. And I was just playing, and it was a good lively atmosphere. And then one of the lassies just walked past the front of the stage and went like that up with her toe. So I'm mid-song, and I'm like, I burst out laughing, and I was coughing and everything. And everybody's looking out like, why did the singer stop mid-song? So the lassies obviously picked up on this. So I start singing again, and then the 2 of them come up, and they're like fucking son at the front of the stage doing that, and I'm killing. Had to stop singing again. I was killing myself laughing, and then honestly.
What's just to make a wee
it's called the Flying Tumbler, or it should be. It's the Green Tree in Bathgate. I'm sure if you ask anybody in Bathgate about the Green Tree, they'll probably tell you the story's true. But they just kept doing that all night. They were just like coming up and like kissing in front of the stage and all that, and just like trying their best to put me off. And I was absolutely
and that's why you need an iPad to stare at.
I was obviously giving it the big shocked look just to keep it going, basically. I mean, it's working, ladies, it's working.
Have any of you ever...
don't like that.
Have any of you ever played in Ginty McGinty's?
Nah.
No, I used to play there all the time with Liam, and it's a really long pub, so the bar's at one end, and like you set up down the bottom end. But there's like, I think there's maybe like 4 or 5 booths, but the last booth is yours because you put the sound desk and that in there. And then you've kind of got to just squash yourself over because there's a wee walkway that goes past you to go upstairs to the toilet. So, but most people are standing. But we were doing a gig, and there was a lassie started having sex in the second booth. But because Liam was on my right-hand side, he could only see her legs. So he's singing, and I'm like, they're having sex. He's like, I can't see her, I can only see her legs. Move over a bit. He's trying, and then there's a guy like pissing all over the bar, like just standing there, Jim Morrison style, pissing everywhere. And then, as Barry had kind of said, like similar to you, it was just at one moment it was like funny, and then it was just like cheers and everything flying, like complete disaster. But
Roadhouse or something.
Yeah.
That's happened before.
But it's disaster gigs. Thankfully, they're not too many. I know we're all kind of joking and laughing about it, and it can be a nightmare at the time, apart from James's gig. But thankfully it's not too bad. But here's a question for I don't know if any of you will suffer this. Do any of you get anxiety, or did you get anxiety, or do you still get anxiety when you go to play a gig?
I used to get nervous. I mean, and I suppose to some degree I still get nervous before. My biggest nervous thing is the first dance at a wedding, but not for the reason that you maybe think. It's one, you don't want to fuck up, but I'm normally comfortable with the performance side of it. In my head, I know, as an engineer, I know what can go wrong with this PA system. I know things can just turn off. And again, but it happened. I tell you what's put the fear in me with it. I did a gig with my old wedding band, Grand Central. I'm going back 14 years ago now. And we played the fucking wrong first dance. And that has sat in with me ever.
Oh my God,
That's a deadly sin. You do not do that. I mean,
that's bad.
That's bad, man. It should never happen.
That's why I don't play weddings.
It should never ever happen. But I think for me,
When did you realise when you were doing it?
When they stop dancing and says that's the wrong fucking song.
That's amazing, mate.
They went after the right song. Shit.
You know what's funny, Barry? See your pal Stuart Thompson?
Yes.
That plays in the Sneaky Treacle.
Aye.
Yeah. He told me that they had a song to learn, and they don't meet up to practice. They'll be like, right, this is a song to learn. And he says that they've only ever done it once, and it never happened again. They all learned the song, but different versions of it.
Done that, but we've pulled it off. Yeah. It's again, it's one of those things that, again, technology's made us all lazy. It has, to a certain extent, certainly for our band, because we all stay miles and miles away from each other. It's difficult, and again, I'm sure, Graham, as you were saying earlier, work life gets in the road. I mean, it'll be the same for all of us. Work life gets in the road, family life gets in the road, and it's like, do you really want to spend 3-4 nights a week practicing or doing that? And again, so that is the easiest thing to do, right, guys? This is the version we're learning. But again, there is always that what happened with Stuart, with Sneaky, was I'd learn different versions and what have you. But as I says, funny enough, I was on the phone to a bride just before I took this call, and I make sure they say the first dance 3 or 4 times, and then I'll also get them to confirm it in writing, and so that's definitely taken care of now. But I'll say that's my most nervous thing, and again, it's not a performance thing. It's more of, shit, what's going to happen? Imagine mid-song and then the PA closes down, because people don't realise, that's the PA's fault. They look at the band, that's the band's fault. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I'd probably say for myself, I'm probably similar. I know that I'm capable of playing guitar and singing it. It's more like, am I going to get a good sound?
Right.
And sometimes that's a wee bit out with your control. Sometimes,
I've got the perfect course for you. I've got the perfect course for you, mate. One in. In fact, Martin was on my course as well. Martin loved it. I think
I did it once, man. It was class.
Brilliant.
Got
it running in the background. Well, I'm back in for the best.
Anybody else got any anxiety with the gigs, or is it pretty much just what we've discussed there? Like,
I used to get it a lot more, but now I'm kind of playing regular places. It's eased off a lot, and then I think as well, because I spent a lot of time, because I was a guitar player mainly. I spent a lot of time in the last couple of years working on vocal technique. I mean, just through YouTube videos and all the rest of it, but really kind of working on it. And looking at different things and warming up properly and all the rest of it, which I never used to do. So my vocal confidence is a lot better. So that helps. And doing the warm-ups actually on the way relaxes you. But I think, the most anxiety is when I'm setting up and just getting the gear together. Because you feel like you've walked into somebody's living room, you're imposing on them. And it's like, I'm here with all my big speakers. And I had a gig at Baker Street last summer. and there was quite a few tourists in, as you were saying earlier, and I was literally setting my speakers up, and I can't remember whether I went to her or she came to me. This French woman came to me and said, she said, would you mind playing without the speakers? And I went, I can't really do that. And she said, I've just been in this other bar and it was horrendously loud, and I've got very delicate sensitive ears, I'm a classical musician. And she was talking bollocks. She was hammered. She went on to this big... she introduced herself first. I'm so-and-so, and I've come from...
She said Dr. so-and-so.
Aye. But it turns out she'd been at Nicky Tam's and there'd been a gig on or something, and she popped in there. And she was in her probably late 50s, early 60s, something like that. But anyway, she went on, and I tried to be really diplomatic because the bar staff were listening. And I said, well, look, I have to play through the speakers because I have to reach these guys at the back of the room, and that's kind of, I'm getting paid for it. But don't worry, it's not, I'll put up a bit of Van Morrison and then a bit of Wildwood and stuff, and it's all, And she's like, and then by the end of the night she was enjoying it because she just got more steaming, so she forgot all about sensitive ears. But then the counter to that was this Australian guy who kept going, I'm Australian, to me every 2 minutes, like walking up to me as I'm playing. I'm here from Australia. I've been to Belfast and Dublin. Now I'm over here. And blah, blah, blah. Can you play Men at Work? Can you play this? Like every single song was like that. And eventually he got a chair and he sat right in front of me. When you at Baker Street, as you're saying, where you play. Yeah. Where the corner is with you have the kind of free water and all the rest of it. He kind of put his chair there and was sat like that for it. But he was still shouting, I'm Australian. And again, he was hammered. Yeah. And that kind of stuff kicks that in, and I'm like,
never asked for Roll Paris,
and it just thankfully didn't he? And it got more. But then as the night went on, the kind of the anxiety goes, because when you start off a gig, you're a bit, because when I first started playing, I was conscious of this woman, and I was quite anxious about it. But as the night went on, and he got more annoying, and was annoying other people in the room, because he was pretty much standing next to me for most of the gig, shouting stuff in my ear. I mean, I even played Men at Work for him, Man Down Under, whatever. I can't remember the name of it now. I was from my phone just kind of playing away. But that didn't satisfy him. So then the anxiety went and just pure rage and anger kind of came in instead.
Well, sorry,
go on.
I was going to say, Graham, this kind of leads into the next question of how do you deal with hecklers? But I mean, that's a heckler for yourself.
Aye, absolutely. Well, it just depends. Usually you can kind of placate them a wee bit. Because more often than not, it is somebody coming up and shouting in your ear because they're steaming and you're playing, and they don't make the connection that you're a real person playing and singing. Yeah. I think you're a jukebox or something, but they'll shout in your ear. You just have to iron the alcohol. And people on works nights out are the worst because they don't drink most of the year. Then they all go on a works night out, especially in Edinburgh. You get a lot of that. But I've only had one potentially violent incident, and that was at Baker Street. Funny enough, it was a few years ago, and. Basically, this guy at the beginning, I knew he was kind of. You were saying earlier about the guy that looked like he'd been drinking all day. It was one of these guys, and he kind of came up to me, probably second or third song in. Oh, can I have a shot of your guitar? And I was trying to kind of say, and I was a bit less experienced then at kind of dealing with folk like that. And I was saying, no, because I'm kind of playing. I'm going to do my gig, but can come and see me later, or whatever. And then he kept going on, and again, it was kind of after every single song, he was kind of doing that. Yeah. And then eventually he got more, as he got drunker, he got more aggressive with it. So he was more like, I'm better than you, you're shit, and all the rest of it, and just kind of kept doing that, and it was getting more and more kind of nasty as he was doing it. Mm-hmm. So, and the bar staff were kind of busy, couldn't do anything, but then he just kept coming up. So it got to the stage where I had to I was almost at the stage of putting my guitar down, and I had to kind of get in close with him and just kind of say, you just need to go. And his pal was getting all leery as well and all this, and eventually he got thrown out. But yeah, that was the way I dealt with that. Because you don't want to be the guy, the performer who punches somebody or.
Does this sound familiar, James? With the first time we met.
First time I met Ian, what was that? You were playing in a place in Falkirk, and
the Graham Hotel.
And I'm sure you had to stop mid-song and get the finger out. Listen, mate.
Aye, James was there for
you've got to get that.
James was there for a grand total of 20 seconds, and then it's like, he hears like, what's your fucking problem? Me squaring up to somebody mid-song. It's a nightmare. What about yourself, Martin? How do you deal with hecklers?
I've got the microphone.
Aye.
Basically, I call it if. Usually it's quite quiet, if somebody gets on your nerves, if they're doing it in your ear or whatever, you can kind of just go, all right, very good, and humour them, and sometimes they just go away. But if they don't, and they're doing it loud and trying to make a thing, I usually just make a point of saying it over the microphone, because now everybody knows they're being a pain in the arse. Everybody in the boozer, the bar staff knows, everybody knows. And see the folk that are enjoying it and want to have a good time, they're going to get on their case and all.
Yeah.
Eventually leave you alone.
I do it as well, Martin, to be honest.
And now, totally, aye. I've got the microphone. I'll crack the joke.
I mean, it takes...
But similar to what Graham was saying earlier on, is you get, like, I used to have, like, loads and loads of patience, and I would just laugh it off. And I used to do a lot of gigs with Ian Donald, and he'll tell you the same thing. He used to do all the shouting at folk, as you can probably imagine. But I used to just, like, so I would laugh it off and hope it went away. But see, as I've got older and the more longer I've been doing it, I've got patience like that now. Eh? See, if you start getting on my nerves or start getting in my face when I'm trying to sing, you're going to hear about it. Eh? And I didn't really care anymore. And I don't do it in a nasty or aggressive way. It starts off like, but I'm quicker to go to 10 now than I ever was. Eh? But say it over the microphone, highlight it, make sure everybody knows about it, and usually either the bar staff or somebody else in the boozer is going to get rid of them for you. So
I have to say, it's the one thing about pub gigs is that the pub is paying you to come to their establishment and entertain their guests. I don't think you should have to put up with that.
No, you're good.
But times I've done a gig where there's 4 or 5 people sat behind the bar and they can see, and as you say, you don't go from 0 to 10 straight away. So you'll play their song requests, or you'll kind of have a bit of banter with them and try and sort of laugh it off. But it gets to a point, not all the time, but there'll be some people that you have to basically say, get the fuck. But I don't think you should have to do that. I mean, the pub should. If that was somebody talking to one of the bar staff like that,
totally,
it would be out.
Yeah. We actually played a gig. I won't name the place, but there was some football team that just won their game, and these were like a first division, second division, something like that.
I was going to say it wasn't.
It wasn't what? Sorry,
wasn't the Rangers then?
Oh God.
Jesus Christ, man. Anyway,
but I didn't watch the soaps. I didn't know anything about that. So, but these young lads come in. They've obviously just won this game. They're very happy. They're full of the drink, and they're getting a bit leery. They're saying really unsavoury things to the 2 female bar staff. Now we're starting maybe our usual time, maybe at 9 till midnight, or something like that, 3-hour slot. And it's, this is early doors for the pub. It'll fill up later, we know, but the guys are getting a bit leery. I'm not real comfortable with this. And it gets a wee bit uncomfortable for everybody there. One of them, much like you say, he keeps wanting Mysterious Girl. Because he thinks it'll be hilarious to hear us playing Mysterious Girl. And I didn't care. If you're paying me money for a public, I'll play Mysterious Girl. I didn't care. I couldn't care less. But but this guy keeps going, Mysterious Girl. His pals are all winding him up. And I was like, you want Mysterious Girl? Right, come on up and sing it. And he was like, oh no, I didn't want to sing it. And then and you've took the power in that moment. So we ended up forcibly getting the guy's pals to push him up on stage to sing Mysterious Girl. And he does the whole thing. And then within about 10 minutes after that, they've been satiated with the booze. They're quite happy, and they left. Yeah, the whole football team left.
I've gone back to what Martin was saying there, Jerry. You've got the microphone, you've got the power. That was one of the things I used to do quite a lot. People coming up, and if they kept at me, I'd go, "What's your name? Sorry." And they'd be like, "Hey, my name's John." And I go, "Ladies and gentlemen, John's going to come up and give us shit yourself."
Yeah, exactly.
See, I had one example where I couldn't do that when I was playing in Edinburgh, and it was when the rugby was on, when the Six Nations was on, and the pub was full of French rugby supporters. So during the songs, in between the songs, and after the songs, they were singing the French national anthem. There's about 60 of them. So even my PA, I'm trying to batter out some Paul Weller, and they're just going, da, 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 just kind of loads of them. They eventually got steaming and left and moved on to the next pub. But for that kind of hour they were there, I was just like, this is pointless. It's hopeless.
I mean, that is definitely the toughest part of doing the gigs. Whether you're solo or if you're in a band. Obviously, if you're in a band, you've got a wee bit of backup, which is quite good. But, you know, that's definitely the toughest part. And it is annoying because I do think establishments could notice it and stop it a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Because
some places are really good. Some places are great, and the bar staff are on the ball, and they spotted the trouble before it's even happened. And you might find yourself sometimes. I've done it before, and I've been playing away, and you know somebody's been a bit of a pest, and then you're playing, you're like, right, fine, you suffer it, and then they kind of go away, and then a half an hour goes by, and you go, I wonder where they went, and then you find out after at the end of the gig they got flung out. Like away back at the start, you didn't notice, but the bar staff noticed what was going on and sorted it quickly, and that was it done.
Of course, there is some places that are on the ball. Some places are good. Some places could be better.
Again,
totally. Aye.
It's got that thing, where you've got places. See if you're a regular in that place, and they take their side, even though they're the ones being an arsehole. And again, that's what really used to frustrate me with pubs. And again. It's kind of a similar with the weddings, although it's not a staff, but it's someone's wedding who they've invited a guest. So if you get a heckler at a wedding, you're dying to go, fuck off, give me peace. But then you're like, no, my pal's the bride or whatever. I mean, so there is, it's just really, really frustrating. Listen, guys, I'm sorry to say this. I'm going to need to shoot the crow. I've got my missus waiting downstairs. I need to go to my daughter's house.
No bother.
But guys, I've thoroughly enjoyed that. It's been absolutely brilliant. Need to get married of these, mate. This is brilliant.
That's fine.
Absolutely brilliant.
We'll talk about you once you're gone.
That's fine. That's totally fine. But listen, guys, absolute pleasure to hear your stories.
Good to see you, Barry.
And I want to definitely up for doing this again.
Come on.
All right, guys. So listen, take care, and I'll hopefully see you.
Cheers, bye. See you later.
All right, cheers, guys.
Take care, Barry, man. Take care, man. Still here.
But just talking about the gigs there. You know, for anybody that is thinking about doing gigs, you know, it is tough. It's hard to play 3 hours. You know, you need 35, 45 songs.
I don't think it's right for humans to sing for 3 hours.
This is why I do 2-hour gigs.
You've got it suspect. You've got it suspect. I was talking to Roddy, my bandmate, about this, and we were like, I know that guys, like, I know a lot of peers who'll do 3 gigs a day, and I go, wow, that's amazing. You can do 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours, or 2, 3, but I can't do any more than like 1 or 2 gigs, 2 maximum gigs a day, because I'm putting so much into I am shooting at the top of my voice, you know, and there's no way I could do any more than 2 gigs at a weekend, you know. And like even like when you think about touring bands and things like that, you're maybe only doing like under an hour. Sometimes if you're a support at 25 minutes, 30 minutes. Yeah. So it's like, for me, it was a big jump going for doing the shows where you were maybe like a support act or you were doing your own show, to then saying, right, how do we get 3 hours of material, as you say? But going back to something that you guys said earlier about like, I think it was Graham you said it, mate, about like people wanting you to play Sweet Caroline and things like that. The good news is though that there's like 70 plus years of music that you can select from. Everybody knows, so it's like you can like we've done gigs where we've went through emotions and we've did, you know, Brown Eyed Girl, Little Respect, all that kind of stuff, and you go through the standards, you know, and then there's gigs where we go, let's just play a completely different set, and you know what, if you can work that set out, it lands, man. It'll land, you know, if you've got the right audience, you're reading the room, it lands, you know. But I was going to.
Sorry, I was going to say the point that you made about there being 70 years worth of songs. The flip side of that is you can never know enough. You know, you can never keep all the people happy. And I kick myself sometimes if there's maybe a standard, you know, that I've not learned, and I'm like, I actually learned that, and they're like, how do you know that? It's like, see, must have been when Wagon Wheel, that Darius Rucker version came. And a couple of people had asked me for it, and I'd never heard of it. And this guy
when did it become big, by the way? It just overnight just became a song everybody's nobody bought it or anything like that, but everybody just seemed to know it for some reason. I don't know how that happened. Like,
this guy came up and he's like, wagon wheel, and I was like, I don't know it. He's like, you do, and I was like, no, I didn't. He's like, no, you do. Rap me, mum. I was like, no, I've never heard it, mate. And he's like, everybody's heard that song, and I was like, I've no. And he's like, I'll sing it. I was like, I don't know the chords. He's like, it's easy, it's just ding ding. You've all heard that kind of thing before. And the guy would not leave it alone. And that was one of the stories I was going to tell earlier, where he thought I was lying. Like, the song was obviously that big, and I hadn't heard it. I don't know, I must have been living under a rock for a few months, but he just was at me all night, wagon wheel. And I was like, I don't know it, mate. And he's like, you're talking shit, you do know it. Just play it. And then it got to the stage where he had to get ejected. I had to say to him, listen, mate, off, I didn't actually know the song, right? Bolt. But it's just, I think it was what Martin was saying, like, you just get a bit too long in the tooth for people, yeah.
That's it. I'll often say I've got a lot of songs to fit in, so I might not be able to fit it in because I've got tons of songs to get in 2 hours I'm playing.
Do you know, here's the funny thing is about like requests, right? So when we were doing big gigs like weddings and stuff like that, we started having a QR code thing that people, it would sit on the tables and a wee stand. I don't know if I've got one in hand. I don't know, but it'd be like a wee QR code and people would scan it and then they could request a song and then there'd be like a link to your page and stuff like that. It's a good tip if you want to get more kind of traction with your followers or whatever. But we noticed that really maybe 70% of the songs people were requesting were songs that you were doing anyway.
Yeah.
You know, it would be, can you do I'm a Believer? Can you do Mr. Brightside? Can you do, it was like, no, they're in the set, so it was like, I usually notice when people come up to you at pubs, like, I try and make a point of learning the song. Like, one of the things that you were saying earlier, James, and that was, you were saying about Wagon Wheel, and it's like, I learned Wagon Wheel because of the pubs. I think I'm the same as you in that sense. Like, I had never heard that, and I think I got maybe like 9 or 10 gigs in, and people were like, can you play Wagon Wheel? And it's like, oh God, one day you'll get that in the repertoire. But it lands every time, man, and it goes good. Like, I used to go for a phase.
It's popular. It's still popular today.
Oh, aye.
Still get requested. At most gigs, I get people asking for Wagon Wheel, Take Me Home Country Roads, 500 Miles, and Jerry Deepin' Cinnamon.
I didn't play that.
Once a night, I hear it 100 times a night.
Give me a wee laugh for each of you. Obviously, you'll be the same as me. If somebody comes up, you'll try and do it if it's a song that you can play. Is there a song that you just refuse because you just hate the song?
Gambling.
I think Sweet Caroline for me.
I think for me it would have to be that one, Forbidden One.
What was it?
Wonderwall.
Oh, I do that as well. There's not many songs I'll not play. Like, I've got quite an eclectic set list. I mean, I played holiday parks for a while, and you've got all grannies coming up. Can you play Patsy Cline, son? And then you've got you like me kids. Can you play Taylor Swift? So like, I've got everything, and you've got guys. Can you play AC/DC or Erasure? Or so like literally, my set list is like so eclectic. So I'm just a bit of a whore with the music. I'll pretty much play anything. I mean, I love ABBA. I've got 3 ABBA songs in my set.
Have you? What ones?
I need to get one in.
Waterloo, Super Trooper, and Dancing Queen.
I do like
man. I love that.
I do like trying to see like I do like trying to get a song that everybody knows but not many people play it. You know, so for example, everybody plays Crazy Little Thing Called Love by Queen, but there's millions of great Queen songs. Why not play another Queen song? The weekend there, I finally, for the first time ever, not only did I figure it out, but I was brave enough. I'd done my first acoustic version of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's brave, mate. That's brave.
See the amount of chords in that.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous, though.
It actually worked.
You can play a hatchet job version of it, though. You can start off with Mama. You didn't do the intro. I've seen wedding bands do it. You do a hatchet job version of it. You do this bit, that bit. You avoid the operatic bit, and then you can kind of do it like...
I didn't avoid that.
You did
Do you throw in stuff like Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones and stuff like that?
Yeah.
They're just slightly... and it all seems to go down well. As long as the song's good, people will, Layla, things like that.
I've got a question for you guys. I ask this for every act I see, right? What songs do you play that always lands? Always lands. Doesn't matter what the crowd is. Doesn't matter if it's pub, a wedding, a corporate, a bar mitzvah, a funeral. What song always lands? I'll tell you, right, here's an example of one of them, right? We were playing a gig and I'll ask you this question. She said, Can't Take My Eyes Off You by Andy Williams. And I would never in a million years play that song. And the next week I learned it. And when we did it, the place went bananas for the ba-da, ba-da, ba, and they really buy into it. And it's like, they're so like, I'm sure it's that. But when that bit kicks in, everybody loses their mind and they're there with you, man. So that's my question I put to you guys. What song do you play that always lands? The song I play that always lands is You Can Call Me Al by Paul Simon. That will always land. Doesn't matter where I am, the way that we do it, at the place, you can win the place with that song. So what song would you guys pick?
I normally open my set with Human by The Killers, and I don't know what it is because I played it a few times during my set and it would land. And now it's my confidence song. It's my, here I am. And I don't know whether it's, because I kind of, the way I play, I sort of do that thing where you kind of slap the strings on the beat. So I'm like, you're playing the chord and slapping the strings, and it creates a good groove. So I open with that, and Candy by Paolo Nutini. I don't know. Always Sunday. It's normally always a sort of a woman or a group of lassies. As soon as you start playing that, the eyes just light up and they're like,
yeah.
That's the one song I refuse to play that because I just can't stand the song.
Candy.
It's not his best effort, but it seems to go down really well.
I think probably. I mean, see all your songs like Country Roads and that. You just know quite well. Day We Caught the Train by Ocean Colour Scene.
Yeah, I do that one.
Good one.
Usually goes down. What's the other Killers one?
Bright Side always lands really well.
It's a Bright Side, aye.
All these things that I've done.
That one. That's good.
And Have a Nice Day by the Stereophonics. That always, because everyone joins in with the ba 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 bit.
Yeah. A call and response bit is good for a song like that.
Even Folsom City Blues for me, the Johnny Cash song.
Yeah.
Turn that into a whole self-indulgent blues extravaganza where I just go a bit nuts in the middle, but I just kind of give it
album?
Loads.
Is that the name of your next album? Self-indulgent blues extravaganza.
That's it. Blues
That's a great idea.
But that always seems to go down well for some, because they hear that dun 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 dun. As soon as they've heard that, I know this one, and it just kicks in for all ages.
That's
it. And you can just camp it up a wee bit.
I usually find
the song that was number one on my birthday, the day I was born, was "You're the One That I Want."
Wow,
Olivia Newton-John,
she's got great vibrato in her voice, Olivia Newton-John, man. In that song particularly, it's really good. Like,
I do that, and always lands really well because I always introduce it. This was a song that was number one the day that I was popped into the world.
Wow.
And extra points if you can guess the year. And I got chills, and everybody's like, "Woo!"
Yeah.
They're all like.
One of the ones we do is, Build Me Up Buttercup by the Foundations. And you just need to play that for bam, ba bam, 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 ba bam, and everybody instantly knows what it is.
Or anything by Creedence Clearwater Revival, usually, like,
Ever seen the rain? I did.
I've always played it, but Dignity is one for me.
It is amazing. We do a Real Gone Kid as well. Real Gone Kid gets a good response if you've got an audience that are like that kind of, were maybe teenagers in the 80s and big on people and things like that.
You know one I've done recently though as well is I did it because there was a wee guy in the Oak maybe end of last year that had a Linkin Park hoodie on, and the only song I could think of at the time was In the End. And I figured out how to do that, and I just done like this acoustic cover of it on the spot, and the place, like, everybody sung it, and I was like, wow, I didn't realise so many people knew this song. And then I've played it every time, every gig I've done since then, and everybody knows it. And it's one of the ones that need whoever plays Linkin Park in the Boozers.
But I bet you that arrangement you do it makes people just stop what they're doing and watch. I bet you.
It goes down really well. So it's one that I've added in as well.
The set lists are a strange one because you learn a song that you think this is going to go down amazing.
Yeah, man.
For whatever reason, it just doesn't hit. And then you've got songs that you class as fillers. And they go down amazing. There's no right or reason. But obviously, as I said, we spoke a lot about, so anybody that's thinking of beginning to gigging, it is a tough game. You're showing up to a pub. There's people that are there not because you're there. It is tough. Learning a 3-hour set list that's always changing. You need to probably learn 6 hours to play 3 hours, right? It's tough going. You've got hecklers to deal with. You've got maybe bar staff that should be doing more of a job to keep you safe and sound. Why do we keep playing gigs though? I mean, the number one thing is let's be let's be completely honest. It pays well. It pays so much better than doing overtime in the office.
Man.
Is there any other reasons for doing it?
I think what I was saying to Graham earlier about songwriting, and when you do the cover gigs, you need to build up these songwriting muscles again, the creative muscles to it's just like if you were lifting weights in the gym or something like that. But I think one of the things that doing these gigs really does though is it really does give you greater dexterity as a musician in terms of your ear and your hands, and your longevity and stuff like that. I mean, when I was in bands for years, I wasn't really a type of guy that did vocal warm-ups or anything like that. But to maintain your gig for doing maybe 2 or 3 3-hour gigs in a weekend, you need to be on the honey tee, man. That's another question I want to ask you guys. How do you maintain your voice in these scenarios? Because it's nothing that was ever taught to me, for the longevity of it, because it's grueling. These young guys that want to come into this business, it is grueling. You're not just writing a song and playing it top once or twice. You are blood, sweat and tears on that stage. There's going to be a pool of sweat below you after that gig, for 3 hours. It is grueling. You're going to have to endure these people, these nutters that are coming to you, that are all the requests as we were talking and stuff like that,
Vocal.
I think obviously, similar to yourself, Jerry, I'm always like honey, warm water and honey.
Honey.
Yeah, and I take a flask with us almost as a backup. So sometimes I don't use it, but it's there should I need it during the gig if my feel of my throat's kind of getting a bit dodgy. And just water for me.
I mix turmeric in as well, so that stops inflammation. I usually have that before the gig rather than at the gig because it can irritate your throat as well, which is weird, but it actually stops. It's a preventative thing. It kind of stops. And then I take Vocalzone with me as well. The wee tablets.
Yeah. No, I was going to say Vocalzone. I use them.
The other thing I was going to say was,
are they just like Strepsils or something? Is that what that is?
They're kind of. They don't have any chemicals in it. It's all herbal stuff. They've been going for years, their stuff's really good. And they got a spray now as well, which is really good.
The other thing I was going to say was also remember that it's not your job to scream to the back of the pub. That's the job of the PA and the microphone. I think some people actually forget that if you need more volume, it's not up to you to scream. Just up the volume on the actual desk.
Totally. That's one thing I learned. That's one thing I learned very recently.
Are you guys sponsored by Vocalzone?
You've got me.
Have you got some as well, Martin? No.
Aye, I've got them kicking about somewhere.
This podcast is sponsored by
Vocalzone. But one of the things I learned recently, just what Ian was saying there, is, and I've been doing it recently, and it's helped massively. I also dropped my guitar. My guitar's doing a full step for when I do the 3-hour set, so I didn't need to sing quite as high. But also my vocal, especially guitar less so, but vocal more so, is boosted. It's high, and it's really loud, but it makes me sing quieter, makes me back off a bit, and so you're not giving it full beans for 3 hours, and you're doing I've added in, there's free, Paul Rogers stuff and all that kind of stuff, and you're all the acrobatics he pulls off, and you try and do that. Full step down helps. Bump the volume right up and just back your singing down a wee bit, and you actually find you've got a lot more control over it. And it's like you don't need to push as hard. Your voice lasts longer. It doesn't hurt in the morning, which is pretty cool. You can do another gig the next day, and I find that to be pretty good. That's one of the best things I've had.
Similar to that, Martin, is probably see at the start when you're first learning. Take a little bit of time to figure out what your key is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, find your range.
I'd rather.
I wouldn't know how to do that.
What you're
it just comes at the top of my head, man.
But
that's the best place for it. So you're not singing from your chest. You use your head voice.
Yeah, boom.
I know. That's what you're meant to do. I
would say to Roddy, the guy in my band, like if I think I cannot hit the note, then I will only hit the note. And it's like you have to make that leap for it.
Yeah.
You need to leap as a leap, and it's like I don't know. There's some days when you're not going to get it with your voice,
Yeah.
So it's about knowing your own body and your own capabilities, I suppose. I think, but in the back of what Martin was saying there, I think having in-ears is a massive thing for that, because if you can maintain your sound through a mixer and have in-ears in, then you can hear yourself constantly. You can get that consistent mix for your guitar, your vocal, backing tracks if you use the other band members, and it's so much easier. So since we've kind of really done our cover band Miniguns thing, we have always used in-ears, and oh my God, you can play multiple gigs and your ears only ringing after it. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of us love the feeling of an amp or a live amp, or it can sometimes be hard to interact with the audience if you're on a big stage or something like that. But having it in ears, man, it's so much easier to laser focus on your performance.
It'll be a bit. See if you've got in ears in. Sorry to interrupt there, but if you're in a small pub, like in a pub, and you've got people coming up and chatting to you, and you're kind of you haven't to sort of lock them out all the time, or because I'm assuming it would block out a lot of the noise.
Well, you can get the ones that are molded to your ear, and they're kind of almost like noise cancel ones. But when we do these gigs, I'm not using anything like that. I'm just using like standard ones you would get off like Amazon or something, like just kind of almost in ears with a good bunch of drivers in it, so you're getting a good bass treble response. But honestly, I think even in a small place, we need something just have one in, because obviously we're playing click tracks.
Yeah.
So we have to get that 4 count before you come in, and if you miss the 4 count, as Barry said earlier, that you're a bar late and Seven Nation Army the drums come in at the wrong beat or something like that.
Here's a question for each of you, because we're kind of heading towards the end here, right? Knowing what you know now, see if you could go back to your younger self who was about to start gigging, what would you tell them?
I would say, see, when I first started out, I was Mr. Cool. I'm only playing like Oasis and Ocean Colour Scene and The Verve and The Beatles and all the cool songs that I liked. And for a long time, I would never play. Folk would be like, play ABBA, or I'd play Jessie J, and I'd be like, what? I wish I'd have known sooner. I wish I'd have been a bit cooler sooner, because see, now I've even got a part in my set where I'm going to, like I say, I'm going to sing 5 songs by women or 10 songs by women. I never used to. It was all guys' songs I used to sing, and now I've got Jessie J, I've got Taylor Swift, I sing the Carpenters, I sing ABBA, I've got Lady Gaga. You know what I mean? I've got Amy McDonald. So I do this whole section in my set where it's maybe 5 or 7 songs where I just sing all women's songs. And some of them are singing about, like I sing Jolene, Please Don't Take My Man. And for a long time, I would never do anything that I thought would compromise my coolness or my masculinity. Just get right into it, I say. Just like enjoy the music, because people will love you even more for coming out with all these songs that you would never expect a guy to be singing, because the lyrics are so. I sing "I Am a Woman in Love" by Barbara Streisand. Do you know what I mean?
Nice.
Like it's like
that's a comfortable man.
Oh, I love the Bee Gees and I love that song, but it's like I just totally embraced it. Take That. I've got about 2 or 3 Take That songs, and back in the Oasis days, that was like you're not singing Take That, or all your mates are abandoning you. But no, I wish.
Big question, James. Do you do Shania Twain's "Man, I Feel Like a Woman"?
Oh, you need to. You need to, mate. That you'd be great at that.
I'm sure. Thanks. I'm sure I've tried to bluff that once, but I've never learned it. No, I should though.
What about yourself, Martin? What would you go back and tell your younger self?
Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's a great way. I mean, I know we've sat here and we've spoke about the hardships and some of the problems with it and how annoying it is, and and all these different things that we spoke about. But ultimately, how cool is it that you get to just play tunes
and you get paid?
People give you money to go and play music, and people enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it is totally like what Jerry was talking about earlier on. It really sharpens. It adds to your, to your other musical stuff, any other musical stuff you do. There's no such thing as a pointless gig. You've always done these things. So how cool is it that you can just go out and play tunes and people will pay you to do it? And worst case scenario, you didn't get that much money, if any at all. But hey, you've had a great night. You've enjoyed yourself, and you get to do what you love. So
it's funny you say that.
Just enjoy it, man.
The amount of people now that say to me, "I wish I could play an instrument." So
totally, exactly.
Yeah. What about yourself, Graham?
I tell you, the thing that, and this was a good anxiety killer as well, and I forget who said it, but this struck home when you get the attitude of, or you go in just knowing not everybody's going to like you or like what you do, and you accept that, and that's fine. But some people will, because I think, and this is sort of trying to please everybody. And if there was one miserable face in the pub, I'd be like, "Oh, that was gross," really beat myself up. But now it's just like, this is what I do. Not everyone's going to like it, but I'll just do my best. I'll do what I do, and hopefully most people will like it. And that was really freeing. That was just, you still do the best that you can, and you try and include everybody, but you're not going to please everybody. So take that pressure off and just kind of let it go. And just enjoy yourself. Just enjoy it.
And Jerry?
I think that's some sage advice for all the lads there, man. I think James, Martin, he's all made great points to it, mate. I think leaning into what Martin was saying, if you want to do your original stuff, learning songs is the way to do it, really. Because like an example of the whole 20,000 hours, is that what they say? The whole Beatles thing. The Beatles didn't have formal musical training, but they would have to play for like 10 hours a night, in Hamburg. So you have to learn a lot of songs, and then by learning a lot of songs, you learn the mechanics in music theory without formally knowing what music theory is. You're learning all the mechanics, though. So playing the songs feeds into it. But another thing about having fun, I think that's a great point. I think have fun with it and be the act that you'd like to see would be my advice. You can go. I'm so guilty of saying that sometimes you'll see an act. I mean, I've seen guys before. You go, that was an outstanding performance, and then you see somebody and you go, they're not quite ready. You'll see an act and they've not got the act, they've not got the repertoire, they've not got the way to interact with the audience. And you'll just say they'll get there. They're just not ready yet. I think when you're at that stage and you're wanting to do it, I think it's important to be the act that you'd like to see. I think in many ways, like pick the songs that you want to hear, you want to play. It doesn't necessarily need to be the cool stuff per se, but if you need to figure out who you are and what it is you are trying to sell. As we say, the apples and oranges. Every guy here has a different live act, and it's not going to be the same punter or client every time. So it's another thing I would probably say as well. Best piece of advice would be one of the things that Martin said earlier as well, and Barry was talking about doing gigs. Like Suey, a Stirling legend, helping another musician out with here's how to get gigs. The way I would say it, for people like us, we need to pay it forward. We need to, if you've got a venue that you play regularly and you see somebody up and coming looking for help them out, man. Give them advice. If you see something that an act does that's really strong, tell them that thing you liked about the act, because I've worked with guys before, and you give somebody feedback, and then you see them 3 weeks later or 2 months later, and they have really honed that thing. And I think we didn't do that enough in this community. I think Stirling's really good for it. I think though, guys like David Reed's an absolute saint. So is Barry as well. Barry's a great guy, and we're always helping everybody to get gigs. If there's a gig you can't make, you'll suggest them. You can pre-book somebody, that will fill that gap. I think having a sense of community and really like leaning into that is a good piece of advice, I'd say, you know.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, before we go, I've got a couple of quick fire questions for each of you. Right, so just tell me what pops into your head. You can go back in time, anywhere in the world. What's the one concert that you wish you could have attended? Go for it, Jerry.
The one concert, I think you asked me this in the interview, and I probably said 15 different concerts because I couldn't make my mind up. But I don't know, man. I mean, it's an obvious, super cheesy choice, but Queen at Live Aid.
Yeah, that's my most popular action. What about yourself, Graham?
Rory Gallagher at the Glasgow Apollo. At any of the gigs he did there, because that must have been amazing just to be in that venue.
Martin?
Any of the early Guns N' Roses gigs back, the Whiskey, Troubadour, all these kinds of places back in the day.
James?
I would be sitting on the Apple rooftops, mate.
Nice.
Next question. Does the perfect album start to finish exist? And if so, what is the album? Go for it, Jerry.
I could write you a list of 10 albums, and it could be a supplementary piece to this article that are perfect albums.
What's one that comes into your head?
The one that pops into my head, perfect album. I mean, you could go multiple Beatles albums for that instance, but this week I have been listening to Asia by Steely Dan, which I don't know if that's any of your areas, but Asia by Steely Dan is recording perfection, recorded in the 70s. Track listing's great. It's the best studio musicians in the 70s, and it's recorded so crisply clean, and it's so good. That's my choice this week.
Graham?
Southern Harmony and the Musical Companion by the Black Crowes. Not a bad song on it.
Martin?
Yes, it does exist. Dookie by Green Day for me.
I thought you were going to pick your own one there.
I would argue as well on the back of Dookie, the Enema of the State by Blink-182 for an early 90s record is pretty. There's no skips in that record, mate, as well. But Dookie's a good one, though. Dookie is a good one.
James, what about you?
I'm probably going to say The Stranger, Billy Joel.
Okay.
Not a bad record on that.
As you know, thousands of great songs written and recorded across the years by different artists. What is the one song you wish you could have sat in the recording studio to witness the song being recorded? Go for it, Jerry.
I think you asked me this again as well. I think I would like to have seen. I would love to have seen the Beatles, either the Beatles singing "Andrew Bird Can Sing" with Lennon and McCartney doing that harmony and the one mic and during the Revolver sessions. Or it would be Larry Carlton's guitar solo in the guitar solo that he plays on Kid Charlemagne for Steely Dan's album.
Graham?
Royal Scam.
What about yourself, Graham?
Probably Cream and White Room. Just to be in that room with the big loud Marshall amps, the wah-wah pedals, and all the engineers freaking out because everything was really loud, and Ginger Baker just going off his nut. I think that would be ideal.
Pretty cool. Martin?
I love to be in the room for the Foo Fighters first album, just to watch Dave Grohl do it all, and how he done it, and how he put it together, and see the vision in his head go, and then into the speakers.
All right. James?
I don't know. I'd have to split it. I would. You asked me this in our podcast as well, and I think I answered that I would love to have been in while they were recording Rumours, just with all the shenanigans that were going on between them and how it resulted in that album. But I would also
no cocaine in the fader. You ever seen that picture? It's like there's a
no cocaine in the faders. And the other one is I think I would have loved to have been in when Keith Moon was recording "Won't Get Fooled Again."
All right, okay,
nice.
And the very last question again, I probably asked you, but the answer can change daily, so you might give me a different answer. For today, whether it be your initial inspiration, your favourite band, songwriting, performance, the overall package, who is your 4 bands you are putting on your Mount Rushmore? Go for it, Jerry.
The 4 bands in the Mount Rushmore, again, that changes from day to day. The Beatles would be there. obviously the Beatles changed Western music. The Beatles could be the Mount Rushmore. I think that's what I said to you in my interview. That could be the four guys. Is it four? Is that right? Is it 4 or 5 in Mount Rushmore? I'm not American.
Four.
Right. Why did we go Mount Rushmore? We don't got another thing we could say. Who's your? I don't know.
The Scottish equivalent.
Is there a Scottish equivalent? Aye. But so I mean, the Beatles would have to be there. Queen are incredible. They just, oh God, 4, you say? Oh my God, I haven't got a clue. Steely Dan, I've mentioned Steely Dan a couple of times. And I don't know who number 5 would be. My girlfriend's saying the Temperance Movement. They're a great Scottish band.
Great choice.
Great band. Phil's the legend.
Go with that then.
Let's go with that then. Aye.
Okay, Graham.
For me, obviously the Beatles, and as well, I would say the Faces. Right. And not just because I've got the T-shirt on, but the first lineup of Whitesnake with Bernie Marsden and Mickey Moody and John Lord and all that, and the Black Crowes.
Cool. Martin.
For me, biggest inspirations, Guns N' Roses, just because Slash is the coolest man on the face of the earth. Green Day, Foo Fighters, Stereophonics.
Cool. And James?
I'm big on writers and sort of songwriting. For me, Beatles obviously number 1. I would say Billy Joel was probably up there. Possibly Springsteen.
Mate.
And so what have I got? One left. Do you know? It's so hard. Do you know? I'm going to say somebody like the Bee Gees, just for their writing capabilities.
Man, phenomenal.
Even their early stuff.
I totally agree with you. See, if you look at songwriters, they didn't get enough credit. If you're looking at underrated songwriters, the brothers Gibb, man, they 3 brothers,
unbelievable.
Just the perfection of the DNA and the fact that they have this, that they're the same family, so their voices blend together so well. But the songwriting is outstanding. You'll find that their songs are covered by as much people as the Beatles, man. It's insane. But that is a good shout. That is a respectable shout.
We're going to just need a bigger mountain. That's the only thing. But guys,
just to get Barry Gibbs Darren.
Thank you so much for each of you for coming on, speaking to myself. Obviously Barry's away now, but thanks you to Barry as well. It's a good laugh. It's as I say, I take my hat off to anybody, whether it be playing the pub, playing the weddings, playing private functions. It's hard going. Everybody makes it look easy when they're good at it. But I do take my hat off. But thank you for coming on. We'll get everybody back on again at some point. I'm sure this is most people's second time on, so we'll just keep going. 3, 4, 5. I'll just keep thinking up questions.
Good shout, mate.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, Ian. Cheers.
Enjoyed it.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for watching, it really is appreciated. Remember to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment, let me know who I should interview next. Thank you.